Welcome back, friends. This week my grand tour takes us to the streets, the vibrant living streets of the ancient capital of Greece.
This is Athens. I always thought of it as crossroads of some kind, crossroads from a modern world to an older world, from Europe, crossroads to the Middle East, crossroads between the world of reality and the world of the gods. Come, let's take a look.
Our first stop is the open market around the little chapel at the foot of the Acropolis called Monasteraki. Here you can rummage through the centuries in open markets and resale shops, booksellers, jewelers, galleries, and antique stores. 1/3 of the population of Greece lives in Athens. At 3.2 million people, it's the 7th largest city in Europe. Ten times that many tourists visit Greece every year, which makes it primarily a place to visit, buy a cheap souvenir, take in some sunshine for over 30 million people a year, which makes hospitality the main occupation for Greeks. So much international traffic takes its toll on traditions. As the local population becomes modern and the tourist trade preserves a picture of life that conforms to their preconceived notions of Greek life. Athens itself has changed hands many times since it was first established a couple of thousand years ago as a coastal city-state. It developed in a perfect spot for navigation of the eastern Mediterranean, central to any navigation to the thousands of islands in the Aegean, where conquest and plunder were the main recreational activities of the day. The sea was an almost supernatural force to connect faraway lands. Today they mostly come from the air, from all around the globe, with a chance to see this marvel firsthand, a pilgrimage to the site of this ancient explosion of imagination and defiant will. Athens was a tourist destination even back then, and its central location put it on the path from one land to another, a culture of merchants and traders, pirates and prophets. Here at the Acropolis, where the imposing temple of Athena looms overhead, I feel a strange sense of time travel. There's no arguing with the ancient architect's choice of site or the building materials, or the strange and subtle precision of the handwork that was employed to accomplish this spectacle. This is an architecture of the sky, an impossible tonnage of stones, hauled up as high as they could be, a collective defiance of gravity and similar constraints of practicality on the human imagination. This place was first named after the serpent man who was the first Athenian king. But it was Pericles in the 5th century BC who organized this imposing construction project, at the center of which is the famous temple of Athena, the Parthenon, to give thanks to the goddess for their victory over the Persians in the Greco-Persian Wars. It had a double function as well. It served as the treasury for the wealth of the city-state. Later, throughout history, it served as a Christian church dedicated to the Virgin Mary. Then later, after the conquest of the Ottoman Empire, it became a mosque in the 15th century. The Ottoman Turks used it as a munitions dump, and during their wars with Venice in 1687, a Venetian bomb hit the temple full of explosives and inflicted most of the damage that we see today to the temple that had remained intact for over 2,000 years. In 1800, a British Earl, Lord Elgin, began making off with the decorative sculptures around the frieze of the Parthenon, bringing them to England, which is an ongoing dispute between Greece and Britain, in which Greece wants the pieces returned as part of its national heritage. Inside the structure was a colossal statue of the goddess Athena, covered in gold. Pericles had a practical attitude to the temple, which did serve as a treasury, and he decreed that the gold could be reused to pay for war expenses, making it a kind of public storage of value. The temple's construction recruited masons from all over the Mediterranean, as the level of skill required was of the highest order. The high precision is evident in the fact that what looks like a straight columned rectilinear box is actually made of subtle curves, which serve as a kind of perspective shift, like the lenses used for architectural photographs, to account for the perspective distortion caused by the huge scale that would prevent the viewer from fully appreciating the refined proportions. The smaller building with the maidens is the Erectheon, associated with Athena and Poseidon, and its strange asymmetrical shape is still a mystery to modern scholars. And it is still under constant reconstruction. The Odeon of Heretes is a stone Roman theater located on the southwest slope of the Acropolis. The building was completed in AD 161 and then renovated in 1950. It was originally covered with a wooden roof, and now it's the venue of the Athens Festival and numerous concerts and performances. Greek history from ancient times and throughout the centuries has been defined by wars.
And this is the War Museum.
Here you can check out some of the artifacts from the various eras in Greek history.
You know, they've always had armies. They're pretty proud of what they've made of them. Their participation in all these conflicts that have happened throughout the centuries.
From the earliest times until present day. On the courtyard are the warbirds, military aircraft that have been part of Greece's defense, spanning recent decades. Their participation in the world wars and as a member of NATO.
Behind me here is the new art museum, which has been under construction for a few years. Went through a long kind of hiatus because of COVID and stuff like that. What's going on here now is a kind of retrospective of the modern and 18th and 19th century Greek art, which kind of encompasses the history of modern Greece. Greece had been under the Ottoman Empire for almost 500 years. They had their revolution in 1821. The independence, they kind of were taken over by the European royalty. So this is the new museum that has just an amazing number of paintings that I've never seen before. So yeah, let's take a look.
I always find the street life in Athens an exciting mix of spontaneous arts, graffiti, street painting, and haphazard creativity in the midst of an old city. The old mingles with the new, the classical with the radical, the religious with the pagan, the timely with the timeless. There's also an increasingly popular acrobatic and climbing scene, and you can find climbing gyms with bars and food open to all hours of the night. Cafes are famously everywhere, and you can go for months cafe hopping from neighborhood to neighborhood, and the quality is superb, and table service is everywhere. Plenty of spots with Wi-Fi and power outlets for the urban nomad, a great place to meet other travelers and kindred spirits. And the quality and variety of treats and snacks is surprisingly good. Your neighborhood here probably has a street market more than once a week, and the array of delicious produce is a predictable cornucopia to enjoy your local cooking. Ask your neighbors for some recipes and see what you can cook at home. Yet after all this, Athens really comes alive at night. Traditional afternoon naps and late dinners, no official closing times, and the pulse of the lively night scene means most hours are after hours in this city. In the summer, the nights are more comfortable than the blazing daytime heat. And it's in this half-dream state, between darkness and light, that the stories of the city are told. Stories from ancient times into the modern future. And the nocturnal revels continue as they have been for thousands of years, to be found in the numerous underground club venues that crop up in the strangest places. If Athens doesn't seduce you in one way, it will always find another.